So I think we can start, Shekhar. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Sriji. And this particular, I give tremendous amount of thanks to Windy for suggesting this topic to Sriji. And he suggested, why don't you talk about this? And I had no idea how it will all fit together. But as and when I am trying to prepare this, it will make sense to a lot of people. It may or may not make sense to some because of if esoteric nature, a little bit esoteric is there, it is going beyond the, the norm of logic. So you have to dwell in it a little longer to appreciate the meaning of it all. But everything makes sense, though there is no doubt about that. So this is our topic, is to understand the significance of chakras, color, chakra colors, right? Most of the time, what we consider that different colors. When Sriji said, oh, consider this as a red color, consider this as a yellow color or orange color, things like that. And in various mudras, he says, hold your finger and thumb, or the lower finger, the small finger, and the ring finger, or whatever, this and that. We don't know what's going on here. And the beej mantra, the lang, hum, yang, all these are beej mantras. Actually, they're very powerful beej mantras. He talks about beej mantra is a very separate topic by itself, so I'll deal with that little later. But for now, I am going to be just, even this is abridged version. I mean, everything is an abridged version today, but I'm trying to sum up as much as I can. Okay. Chakra colors, of course, there are mudras, the beej mantra, and transcending consciousness. Now you must be wondering, what are this about transcending consciousness? Let me briefly touch upon transcending consciousness. Transcending consciousness does not mean that you are flying in heavens. No. Transcending consciousness essentially means that you are you are you're transcending the consciousness, body consciousness, that you are the body. So far, with this, what we think, we are the body. The fact is, we have a body, right? Now, when will we ever know this truth directly? Either in meditation, deep dhyan, or in deep shavasana, or even yog nidra and things like that. That's the time when we really appreciate what that we have a body, rather than we saying that, or we identifying with the fact that we are the body. No, we are not the body. We have a body. Just like we have a car, we have a house, we have a computer. Similarly, we have a body. We are not the body. But this identification has been so much stronger in us. So whenever you say you always point to the body and you think that this is me. So, but this is not me. We have this. I am different than the body. So this is transcending consciousness. Now, if somebody has pain and disease or this and that situation, you are aware of your body, right? You are aware of your body. The the time when you have been the happiest, the time when you have been the most joyful moments in your life, were the moments where you were totally oblivious of your body. When we were children, we used to play. I mean, we used to just get dirty. What was the deal? Is that we were always joyous. Why? Because we had no body identification at that time. We just, so that is what it is all about. So transcending consciousness is, right now we have a body consciousness. Transcending means going beyond and seeing that this is our body instead of saying this is me. So of course, these are the chakras different. I just wanted to get you a brief note of this. The Mooladhara chakra is the root chakra, the Swadhisthana chakra. This is earth element, this is water element, this is fire element, this is space element, this is Vishuddhi is
So, air element and then space.
yes, this is also, and this is also Agnya chakra. So these are the couple of things that we will be basically talking through Early in my earlier talk, I had talked about different colors with having different frequencies. Say when you have Muladhara chakra has these plexus has the vibrating frequency or the flow with which the action potential goes in uh, that root chakra or the lowermost plexus is about 228 to 396 hertz. As we go higher frequency, the color changes. Obviously, this is exactly the VIB-GYOR we have seen, right? The this lower frequency, red is lower frequency but higher wavelength, and violet is higher frequency and lower wavelength. So this is what it is. So this is more powerful wind, right? More powerful than this. So the Vindiji, you wanted to know why they are color. The color is purely because of the frequency of vibration of anything, right? If anything, if any object vibrates at a certain frequency, it automatically emits that kind of light. So that's what it is about, right? They don't have a color until and unless those colors people have seen inside their, when they're in deep meditation they can see those colors. There's nothing that is, this is not some kind of a theoretical thing. It does exist. Even if I don't tell you anything, you will still, if you are into that deeper frame of dhyan, you will see those colors. So there is, it's not wrong. I asked the same question long time ago to my Guruji, and he said, "Okay, you want to know exactly the truth? You are the scientist. You should know. You believe in seeing it, right? Directly." I said, "Okay, yes, I want to see it." And he said, "Okay, you practice this, and you tell me whether you will see it or not." And he was right. So, say for instance, if we are too much down uh, into some state where, let's say, very angry or very jealous, that's the best time to do dhyan. You will know exactly what I'm talking, and you will see the exact color at that. When you are in deep love, everything is perfect. You will see like greenery everywhere. This same thing is the Anahat chakra is going on that time. And when you are in total tranquility, in deep, like 1 or 2 hours, 2.5 hours of deep dhyan, you will see this violet color very nicely. So it's not that it's not something hypothetical here. It is a fact. Okay. Now, this is what I have been talking last time also. I just want to get a brief idea about the frequency vibrations of different chakras. So this is exactly what I had talked earlier also. So Vindiji, it is purely vibration frequencies. How well are these vibrations happening? So let's say, have you ever been to any puja, for instance, um, Satyanarayan Puja? Now, Panditji talks about making this hand do tap on your head and things like that. And then he says Ganpati becomes very happy. And I was wondering, what is that to do with Ganpati? The best beautiful feel, the frontal lobe, this side of the frontal lobe, these two sides are the ones. If you knock like that, obviously some vibration will go there also. What is that? It is directly connected to the Muladhara chakra. So it all the way, this area, if you activate this area like this, the Muladhara chakra gets activated. And what is the Muladhara chakra? They say Muladhara Sthitosi Nityam. You have heard the Ganpati Stotram, right? So Ganpati sits in the Muladhara chakra. That's what it is about. So when you do this, the Ganpati becomes happy. Oh, how? That's how. There is a connection here. So it's directly, say, even if there is let's say you put an electrode here and trigger little frequencies there, the frontal lobe gets activated. And that is exactly why when they say Ganpati is the essence of knowledge. Why is that so? Ganpati is essence of knowledge because frontal lobe is the discriminative faculty, discriminative intellect, Vivek Buddhi. is situated here in the frontal lobe, and it continuously develops over the period. Over the period, say till the age of 30, 32, it keeps developing as and when. So in teenagers have why is teenager require more and more attention is because the frontal lobe is not developed much, and that's why we are asked to do the pranam like this. Why? Touching the forehead to the floor is making the blood flow into the forebrain here, into the frontal lobe forebrain, and that's how you are basically triggering frontal lobe development further and further, and that's why the Ganpati and the frontal lobe and the knowledge is all correlated. Mudras. So this is where it's, I just stopped there because it's a huge topic, but just because you wanted to know the color frequencies and what is it, why chakras are different colors, and when Sriji says no, it is an inverted triangle like this, like the red color, and then this is a different color, that's the different color. It's all because of frequency vibrations. Okay. So mudras are basically hand gestures, right? Made out of um, different mudras. Is also, I'm just limiting my understanding to only 5 elements right now: the fire, the air, the space, the earth, and the water. These are the 5 elements I'm going to be talking about, which have direct correlation with different chakras. The sacral chakra is water, the root chakra is earth, and throat chakra is space, heart chakra is air, and solar plexus is fire. So this is Manipura chakra, this is Anhat chakra, this is Vishuddhi, this is your Muladhar, and this is Swadhisthana. So how finger movements can be used, because of the entire body is a network of nerve fibers all over, ascending, descending, association fibers, and sensory neurons, sensory fibers going all over, motor neurons. So there is a 72,000 plus nerve connections all over, and in the hand itself we have these connections. So if you have a very not pressure, too much pressure, but gentle touch it, you can feel the pulse also very gently. You can feel the pulse, you can even feel the energy flow of your body if you are very tuned to these fingertips. They are extremely rich in neurons, and they are very rich in blood fiber, blood vessels, the capillary act. So that's why this is so important. So of course, these are the pressure points and acupressure. I just wanted to throw in this slide just to make you feel that there have been a lot of studies, especially in India as well as in China. They have studied the entire meridian system in the body, which is controlled by these small pressure points on the top of the hand as well as in the back of the hand. Everywhere you can really study that. So there are different pain points. Say for instance, if you are feeling too cold, this is the point we get activated. Abdominal pain, these are the several points. States of anxiety can be controlled. I personally have had a chance of we had gone to in our school trip to Kashmir. So we had gone to beyond Gulmarg to Khilanmarg, all the way trekking almost. So I was almost like exhausted, and somehow I slipped and I felt some pain in my back. So what he did, the gentleman, there was we had a stop to have some omelette and things like that there. So this gentleman, I just told him, he said, I have like back pain. I think I sprained something. I fell down. He took my hand and he just rubbed against this portion. He said, where is it? And he just rubbed it, and lo and behold, my entire pain was gone like that. And I was wondering, what did he do actually? He knew the process of the back pain. Wonderful. I mean, he solved the whole thing. So I know for sure this works. Uh, the, almost you have to experiment it on yourself to make sure that it works, instead of going and directly and popping a pill for sore throat. Perhaps it's a good idea to use one of these things and make sure that it works. Okay, now these are different panchakoshas, right? Panchakoshas is considered to be a different level of uh, body system. Level of body system means we just don't have a physical body. We definitely have energy body, we have a mental body, there is a physical body, there is a energy body. How many people have felt that even though we have a physical body, there is a energetics about it that we have to be cognizant of. There is another one which is a mental body, means at the level of thoughts. Even if the body is we are not completely oblivious of the physical body, but there is definitely the mind is at work. So there is another one, and there is other third fourth one is the wisdom body, right? And then the true self, the bliss body and the true self. So this is exactly what it is. Now if you consider this particular circle as concentric spring like this all the way, so the bottommost would be the physical body, which is basically situated in the Mooladhara and Swadhisthana chakra, right? The energy body would be Manipura chakra. Energy body is Manipura chakra, means wherever there is high metabolism and high energy being produced. So this is the place where in our tummy area that is the area of our energy. And emotional body and mental body is considered in the heart. Why is it considered in the heart? Because for any small perturbation in your emotion, it is the heartbeat that gets altered. Any small perturbation in emotional and or thought process, the heartbeat immediately gets heart registers that image. However, the chakra is not the heart. Remember that it is chakra is not the heart, but it has the emotional area is considered to be at the level of heart here only. And Vishuddhi chakra, I have already discussed the whole aspect of Vishuddhi chakra, the dynamics behind the throat and the vagus nerve and all that stuff. That is all pure wisdom's body that we have. And the bliss body is at the throat and the Agya chakra and all that. These are that interface of Agya chakra and Vishuddhi chakra is the real wisdom body. And Agya chakra is your the pineal gland, the hypothalamus, the pituitary. These are, and some other areas, small nuclei like in the mid brain area. Those are the Agnya chakra, which means to say Agnya chakra means that which gives directions, that which commands where to go, would what a particular part of body will do, what particular aspect of your physiology will do. Those are the things which is directed and given complete instructions, Agya instructions. So that is why it is called Agnya chakra. Okay, and then obviously the true self, which is in the center. This is you. This is you, and this is a part of you, or that which, if you transcend these things, this is what remains. So when I say transcending body consciousness or transcending consciousness, it is to move up from the physical to energy, to mental, to wisdom, and to bliss, and then finally appreciate the fact that you are this true self. This is transcending consciousness means. Okay, it's not something that suddenly you will have a aura coming out of your brain, some horn coming out of your head. No, nothing of that nature. It is gradual moving up the energetics of your system to a point where you don't need it anymore. The same thing is here. Now, this is physical, the Annamaya Kosh, energetics, mental, wisdom, and bliss. So these are the different. I mean, this the same thing represented as the chart. So now in Sanskrit, the Vayu, different pran Vayus I am talking now. Okay, I have moved on from um the mudras. How does mudras? Now this is the introduction to mudras now thus far. Okay, in Sanskrit, the Vayu means wind, and the root va translates to that which flows. Thus, a Vayu is an energetic force that moves in a specific direction to control body functions and activities. Again, I repeat, Vayu is nothing but. Now, remember last time, uh, which in the meditation video, I think first or second video I had talked about that, where I specifically maintained one thing, that these uh, uh, different vayus. Vayu is not air, remember that, or the prana is not air. These are the different systems: pran vayu, udan vayu, vyan vayu, saman vayu, apan vayu. All these are controlled by breathing. Breath itself is not pran. Breath controls all these pranas. Remember that. So I had shown you this particular slide. Remember that long time ago, where I had shown that just this is Vishuddhi Chakra actually. This whole area is a Vishuddhi Chakra. Okay. So this area, actually this portion is Vishuddhi Chakra, and this top portion becomes the interface of Agya Chakra actually. This portion, all this up to here, right? These things. So when you breathe consciously, pranic breathing, I would say, or the breathing that you do during the pranayam aspect, that is what I am talking about. When the breathing is pranic breathing, which means the breathing in when you do pranayam, these are the 5 different centers which get activated. These are the ones which control in some form or the other. They are not singly independently controlled. They crisscross, and they have their association with each other. But all in all, these are the ones which control all the 5 pranas. Breathing is the trigger which activates these centers. Which centers? Dorsal respiratory centers, chemoreceptor, ventral respiratory group, pneumotaxic center, and apneustic center. So these are the centers which get activated because of your breath, pranic breath, the one which, and why they say pranic breath? Because the breath that goes inside our nostrils activates these centers. That's why. And to be very more precise, remember, these are the things that I showed you. All these centers are the major hub of control, and you know where these are situated? Just between the eyebrow. And when you tilt your head, this is basically the area that you are trying to highlight. So this is the real deal that is going on here. Not just most people think that it is pituitary or pineal gland. No, it's not just that. They are there, but that's not the only one. The real deal is this, which controls the 5 pranas in our system. Now, how many people have done puja at home and they have offered prasad to the deity, right? Om pranaya swaha, om apanaya swaha, Om Vyanaya Swaha, Om Udanaya Swaha, Om Samanaya Swaha. Now, what are these? These are the different physiological processes in our body which we are invoking. Why we invoking is when we are eating the food, the same center. Remember the breathing. And how many people have done one particular exercise which Guruji has talked about. When you do the throat lock, he says try to gulp as if you are swallowing your own saliva. What is it that doing? That is actually activating the these centers that I have talked about just now. All these centers. This is what he is basically when he does that. These are the ones which get triggered. Now different uh, mudras. Let's say pran vayu. Pran vayu mudra is this. Why? Because water, earth, and fire. This is fire, right? This one, the thumb is always a fire. So if you have water, earth, and fire, which are in misalignment, then the problems pertaining to pran vayu starts. So how do you balance it? By this mudra. Same is with apan vayu. Apan vayu is one of my favorite ones, I think. So where you have the thumb blocking the air, which means the fire is not allowing, or basically the air is blocking the fire from at the base, and the fire is not allowing the air to move, right? The fire is dominant over there, but at the same time the finger is trying to suppress the fire. So it's fantastic. Somewhat what it does is it decreases the air and the fire element, this portion. It's a negative feedback negative feedback loop where the air and the fire element is decreased, whereas this fire triggers these the earth and the space element. So it is a very complex design that it is in the apan vayu mudra. In Vyan vayu mudra, I'll tell you the details of what challenges happen with if this pran vayu is out of whack or apan is out of control, things like that, and how these simple gestures. Now these gestures are not some theoretical. This is tremendous amount of research has gone by, and the 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 nerves that go directly is connected to vital areas in the brain from there. So that's why it is so important. The Vyan Vayu Mudra is space, air, and fire. These are the three things which has to be in balance in order to make this mudra work better. There is another mudra is Udan Vayu Mudra. This is laughter mudra. They call it when you are really happy and laughing, which means your earth, space, and air element is taken into care, is in balance, really good. And Saman Vayu Mudra. Another most favorite of my mudra is Saman Vayu Mudra. How many people have? Of course, I eat with my hand. I care less for using fork and all that. I'm not that civilized yet, so I like this. And the reason is when you have all these five fingers coming close, and this is how you have the balance of all the five different chakras, five different pranas, using the Saman Vayu Mudra. When you lift anything with your hand like this, it does magic because it balances all the pran vayus. So so pran vayu is the major one, but basically apan vayu, vyan vayu, udan vayu, saman vayu. Saman vayu is is everything, balancing everything. This is a chart which I have found out in the internet. It was very nice. I like this. So it gives the same thing. It's what all things it does actually. So air, earth, water, ether, fire, and balancing causes steadiness, and if you have a better Udan Vayu, you can have a verbal, you have a very strong, you call it communication skills. So whatever you communicate gets through to you. Pranvayu is basically forward moving air and flows in and up. So remember that I had showed you earlier this particular slide, this one. The Pranvayu goes up, Udan Vayu goes up, Saman Vayu goes down, Apan Vayu goes down, and Vyan Vayu is all four directions. So basically, Vyan has a center in the Anhat chakra, Udan has a center in the throat chakra, Prana is basically Agnya chakra, and Apan Vayu is Muladhar, and Samana Vayu is Manipura. So these are the different things that control physiological functions, excretion, assimilation, digestion, all those things. So the pranvayu is essentially responsible for reception. Now, when we say reception, which means if you take uh, imaginary ruler, right, and you put it all the way across here, this part, the one which is back of this half part is your sensory system, sensory and association sensory cortex. This is what it is, right? The front part is motor cortex. So when you say pranva is responsible for the reception, which means it also has it also regulates sensory cortex as well. Okay, the pranva is the most fundamental of all the five values. Cardio, respiratory, and immune system it controls, and it is located in Agya chakra. So what when you do uh, cross section here, cross section. So Agnya chakra also involves thalamus then, right? There is a region in the brain just when you cut it like this. The thalamus is what relays all the information from all the system in our body into the sensory cortex. So, which means Agnya chakra has a very vital role in controlling the entire prana system. This is how we infer from that. Now, if it is out of whack, problems appear and they are mostly related to heart and lungs. Okay, so coronary artery disease, low energy, chronic fatigue syndrome, and all that, these are all the outcome of imbalance in the prana vayu. And uh, if you had gone to India and you have seen some Deepavali celebration, which big, huge, like crackers, which makes so much noise, that essentially uh, affects the pranvayu in a very negative way. Of course, violent movies and all that also affect your plant. You feel totally demoralized and uh, depleted of energy. So, how do you balance your pranvayu? In pranayam techniques, Guruji is already teaching everybody like this. When you inhale very consciously, and you not just conscious breathing in or inhaling, but you make sure that every part of the air is going and filling up different part of the lungs. And you can like almost visualize it that this is going and filling up every part of the lungs, so that you are in tune with your lung now. You become the lung almost. So and hold that little bit long, and then expire it and let it come gently with every bit from all the way from the deepmost part of your alveolar system into your trachea and out. So that type of a breathing is very important for prana. So say for instance, if you are agitated or having fear or anxiety and things like that, this is the best mechanism. Breathe in and breathe out consciously. Very slow and very conscious. It will help you. Of course, asanas are also important here. All the backward bending asana, which means you inhale. All the Surya Namaskar, whichever that you do is back, wherever you are backward bending, Bhujangasana, anything which goes like this, then you are enhancing your pranvayu. Veerbhadrasan, warrior pose, you know, everybody knows that. Utkatasana, Uttishta Hastasana, and Tadasana and Shavasana, obviously, towards the end. Benefits of this Vayu is it energizes your system big time. It removes the chronic fatigue, improves the eyesight. This is very good thing. It does improve eyesight, and I have seen in me itself that I never had a at the age of 42. I think I just started using reading glass, and it has the same power at 0.51 or something like that. So heart and lungs, it improves that, because when you are doing that, whenever you are doing conscious breathing, you always deep longer. Deep breathing always happens suddenly. So if you are unconscious at that time, you are shallow breathing. But when you are doing the conscious breathing, you always go deeper. That is the fact. It improves blood circulation and improves body immunity and promotes self-healing. So there is a lot of self-healing that we can instigate by our conscious effort, and that is conscious breathing. Conscious breathing activates pran vayu mudra very nicely. And even during those exercises, in the doing the prana all the yogasans, if the goal is not to focus on the position that you are doing, it may or may not be perfect, but the breathing has to be deep while you are doing it, and doing a particular thing and going back to normal position. The breathing has to be more conscious. That is the secret of yogasan. Secret of yogasan is not in the pose. Of course it is important, but if you are not able to do it, at least do conscious breathing. That gets the maximum mileage out of any yogasan. And during the time of recovery from any illness, you require an extra burst of energy. So this yoga, this pran vayu mudra, the way it is very essential. Apan vayu mudra. This is now apan vayu mudra is responsible for elimination, right? Toxins. So basically, it starts with liver, kidney, and urinary bladder and all that. That's where it's all at, right? So if apan vayu is weak, low mood, doubt, and negative emotion happen to you. So that is where if somebody is constipated, he is never in a good mood. That's a fact. You have seen the terminally constipated people. They cannot smile. They are in a bad mood. They have a bad attitude. Everything. So this apan vayu mudra is essentially very important for flushing out garbage out of our system. Now this mudra is also known as Mrit Sanjeevani mudra, which means it can snatch a person away from the clutches of death. Say, for instance, somebody has had a heart attack. Make sure you help him do this and do this and tie what you call duct tape around it like this. Until the doctor comes or till the 911 ambulance comes, make sure that he is doing this. It helps. How do you balance it? Kapalbhati is most very important pranayam. Mool bandhar, root log. Guruji teaches that root log is very invigorating for apan vayu. Okay, in Kapalbhati, you know very well that it just expels all the toxins and this. So it is very important to do Kapalbhati to balance this apan vayu. And of course, there are a couple of very simple yogasana. Prasarit padotanasan. So when you do, you spread your legs and you touch your head on the floor. while standing. So go all the way like this. So that is this thing. Vrikshasana, tree pose, Bandha Konasana, everybody knows, and Shalabhasana. These are a couple of asanas that you can do to balance these pranas. Now, what are the basic benefits of this? Is essentially in the heart area. Heart, whatever that has to do with heart, it helps. Okay, heart, liver detoxification is done in liver, increases the akashic elements. That's the best part about it, and increases the earth element and contributes to increased vitality. So, so what it does, it increases the space and earth element, but at the same time decreases the air and the fire element. So this is what that is the beauty of that this thing, this mudra. It helps in solving the angina challenges. The practice of this mudra as soon as heart attack strikes might enable the victim to decrease the damage of the heart muscle. This has been proved by Vasant Lad. There is one doctor of Ayurvedic. He, this is the line I had stole from his talk, one of the talks that he talked about different mudras, and I was really impressed by it. I mean, this man is 80 some years old, and what a guy. He has talked about this, and he said, "You try this, and it will work." I don't have any experience on this, but when he says, I believe him. And of course, it overcomes excessive sweating. Have you ever seen some people just sweat all the time, like constant sweating? This overcomes that. Constant sweating means eventually imbalancing the electrolyte level in our system. So that will make you weak if you excessively sweating, and but at the same time obstruction in the urinary tract. So this can be solved. And all the vayus, all the disease due to Vata and Pitta Prakriti is solved by Apan Vayu Mudra. Okay. So another mudra is Vyan Vayu, where you are trying to balance the air, space, and fire element together. And this, energetically speaking, the center for the Vyan Vayu is basically Anahat Chakra. Anahat Chakra is the place because from here the entire energetics moves all over the body towards the nerves and the musculature. The entire muscles, nerves, and joints are connected from that center. That's why it is important. And the reason is it connects all the 72 different pathways. The nadis means energy channels of our body, and that's why it is so critical that this vayu is in check. In addition to Anahat Chakra, it is associated with Swadhisthana Chakra also. So Swadhisthana Chakra and Anahat Chakra alternate. Instead of Manipura, the Swadhisthana and the Anahat, they control this Vyan Vayu Mudra. Vyan Vayu in the system. And this mudra is what it does help. So if you have imbalance in this Vyan Vayu, then you feel physically totally clumsy, absolutely low in attitude, and it almost like scattered personality. Frazzled is the right word I was looking for. Frazzled is the one, if you've seen somebody frazzled, really, or if someone has already experienced that, which means the Vyan Vayu is imbalanced. So when you do this, it helps. Now, how much times? I mean, any mudra is best done 45 minutes in a Sukhasana position. That is how it helps. Now, how do you balance it? Through meditation and pranayam, of course, the same thing applies. When inhaling, feel the air enter into your nose and going into the deepest and the darkest areas of the lung. Like you, first you exhale completely and then you inhale very slowly. Keep inhaling, keep inhaling, keep inhaling, keep inhaling, and feel that air is going into all those alveoli which never had ever received oxygen ever in their life, and they're kind of sitting there hoping that someday the oxygen will get there. So those are the areas. I just feel that. And while exhaling, just assume the entire body is your lung, right? And it is not coming out of your nose. The exhalation is not coming out of your nose, but through all the pores, the entire pores and the entire body, the legs, arm, the head, everything is your nose. That kind of imagination you have to have. That you just don't limit the exhalation to only nose. The entire body is exhaling, so you will feel the very lightness, uh, and very uh, extremely light and calm you feel if you do that kind of exhalation. Back bends, all the again the same thing. See, all these back bends are basically uh, triggering all these centers, these major centers of the Anahat chakra and the Manipura chakra. So Swadhisthana chakra. So these are the ones. Sun salutation, Surya Namaskar is one of the most beautiful yoga asanas you can ever think of having. And lateral flexions like this, Tadasana in different positions, these kind of things can help. Now, benefits of Vyan Vayu is regulates blood circulation, remove drowsiness and excessive sleep, and it gives better control response to temperature. Now, those who have they feel hot, like for some reasons, they just in some people life there are periods where they feel excessively hot. So if you do this Vyan Vayu Mudra, it regulates, which means hypothalamus is involved in this, right? So because hypothalamus is the temperature control center in the brain. So if you would like to make sure that if you are feeling very cold, you will do this mudra. If you're feeling excessively hot, do this mudra. It will balance it out. It will make the ambient temperature 97.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and it keeps there. So it controls excessive thirst, sweating and urination, and it also controls diarrhea. Udan Vayu Mudra. This is prana from the lower to the upper chakra. This is like it covers pretty much all. You see this earth, space, fire, air, all of this is in balance. So this Udan Vayu is when everything is perfect. You feel good. So this is what it is. So basically it is in the throat area also. Leads from the lower to higher chakras all the way so gradual increase in your consciousness, which means you are now heading into Udan Vayu. Anybody who is smiling and laughing, all that laughing means it's not like laughing like idiot, but laughing because he is happy internally, which means his Udan Vayu is under control. He is doing good on that aspect. Don't go around smiling and laughing. Otherwise, people say, "What's so funny?" This happened to me also. So, what's so funny? They say. So, anyway, when Udan Vayu is in balance, you feel totally confident. This is the very most important part of this Udan Vayu thing: is feeling of confidence, clarity, assertiveness, and able to express yourself articulately. This is the power of, like for instance, if you have happened to see Sadhguru's videos, now this man has everything is under control. Like that his Vishuddhi chakra is definitely activated nicely and it is in control. I mean, all these elements are in total check, in complete balance. So this is what it does too. Good communication skills happen. Right away, if you have any questions, Some people have right away the answer coming out of them. For some reason, they just know the answer. So, and we wonder how come they know the answer so well. Their chakra is in control, so that helps them use their brain to the fullest of their ability. Now, what all Udan Vayu is activated by, now this is beautiful. Now, different Vayu systems have their interplay with other Vayu systems. Say for instance, Udan Vayu is activated by Saman Vayu. The Saman Vayu is activated by Prana, and the Prana is activated by Apan. So this is all that is happening together. So there is not one thing that is in charge, but all of it is in charge. And that's why this mudra, when I say eating with your own hands, and Om Pranaya Swa, Udanaya Swa, Samanaya Swa, all that, when you do this, which means while you are eating, what beautiful these rishis have done in our in Indian system. They have used every bit. They could have also created. Do you think they are not creative enough to create a fork? They do. They know, but they say no. You eat with your hands so that all the pranas will be in your. You activate right there while you are eating it. What beauty! Now, the yogasana that we do is Setubandh, Sarvangasana, bridge pose, and Sarvangasana, shoulder stand, Halasana, Matsyasana, and Shirsasana. These are the couple of asanas that you do in order to balance the Udan Vayu. Udan Vayu is also known as laughter mudra because it makes you actually the blood flow into the brain makes all the difference, but not too much. Okay, just because it is good thing to have blood flow in the brain, if you go in sitting on the headstand forever, no, that will destroy your the fine capillaries, and it will not you might have small areas which will leak out blood, and that's not good. It helps in creative thinking and setting goals. This particular Udan Vayu helps in creativity. How do you connect very divergently different ideas together and make something new coming out of it? This is the power of Udan Vayu. Okay. Now, what the benefits is, it relieves depression. That is definite. If you are smiling and if you have a good attitude, obviously depression cannot come close to that person. No stress and no tension can ever bother that person ever. Improves concentration and alertness and sharpens the memory. Now, all these points I am picking out because of the different areas of the brain that this particular Udan Vayu, the nerves that are actually triggering are these areas where this is the midbrain area. Concentration and alertness is the frontal area, this portion, and positive attitude is the whole brain function. Speech and speech centers are like in the somewhere in the middle part of the brain, and of course breathing difficulties is, remember I showed you that diagram, that's the center. Actually the entire midbrain and frontal lobe is affected by Udan Vayu. That power it has. It also regulates Agya Chakra also. Just imagine, like feedback regulation. Agya Chakra regulates the other system, and the other system actually regulates the Agya Chakra or makes it stronger. The Saman Vayu is digestion, absorption, and assimilation. And my favorite, all the 5 chakras, all the 5 spaces, all the 5 elements, and not only the 5 elements, but all the chakras that are associated with these 5 elements get activated just by this pose. So when you're eating your food with your hand like this, you know what is happening. Now you will have a better appreciation. Whenever I eat, after having done good research on this, to be very honest with you, I did not know this till last week when I was preparing it. I said, man, what great people have these. How could they How could they assimilate such powerful things in our daily routine, like normal, and they're helping it out to make our life better? Now, Saman Vayu is the balancing, is the Pran Vayu at the meeting point between Pran and upward moving body. It is basically balancing the lower and the higher. So the one which is going up and one which is going down, these are the one which regulates that. It governs Agni, the fire, which is the Manipura Chakra, basically, right? Now, I don't know whether how many people know Sant Jnaneshwar. He was a yogi of Nath Sampradaya. Uh, so, Matsyendra Nath and all these brilliant the Matsyendrasan, all those being Maricyasan, these people were the Nath Sampradaya people, right? These are the pioneers of fantastic new concepts in yogasanas. Not just Patanjali, these are the guys who have developed several of these yogasanas. So the Sant Jnaneshwar, when he was thrown out of the house, and the village would not give him fire also to cook his food. So he told his sister Muktabai, okay, you cook the food on my back, close to my Manipura chakra, and he exploded that to make it happen, and he could create such fire that you can cook food on top of it almost like. So it is that true. However, there is another very important uh, truth that I have just recently come from some people who have had interaction with Sadhguru. He has taught this particular, not just this, but all the asanas are important for countering cold weather situation in Ladakh by using pranayam and mudras and yogasan, which can increase the body temperature irrespective of what temperature is outside. So that kind of protocol he has taught over there, and people are just doing fantastic there. Now, Saman Vayu is very important. Like for instance, if you know exactly intuitively, you know what is good for me, and you will take just that. Now, not just in eating, but in all the five senses, that all the inputs of all the five senses, because of this Saman Vayu, you will know exactly what to watch, what to hear, what to eat, what to touch, what not to touch, that type of thing. That's what it is all about. It helps you realize what we don't need and what we need. So that discriminative power, that's why I said, is also controlling the frontal lobe, because the discriminatory intellect or the Vivek Buddhi is also important, and that is helped by Saman Vayu. How do you balance it? Pranayam, right? Practice the balance in inhalation and exhalation. Same thing, right? Almost all the pranas are under balancing act if you have a very conscious breathing. And conscious breathing, whenever you do conscious breathing, it is always deep. And of course, in yogasan, parivrit parshva konasan, this is the tough one, but Guruji does a beautiful job of it. Utkatasan, Shalabhasan, Marichasan, and Paschimottanasana, and Udyan Bandha. These are the ones that you do. Benefits of Saman Vayu is this: improves digestion, it balances the metabolism, improves the function of the liver, and of course the kidney. I am sure of that. It balances the energy and the Vat Pitta and Kapha dosh. Whatever the challenges because of Vat Pitta and Kapha is brought in alignment here. You don't have to treat Vat separately or Pitta separately or something like. Just do this and everything will be in balance. That's the best part of it. So Saman Vayu Mudra is very, very important. It strengthens the body's inside. Right? from inside it strengthens and gives confidence to the mind. Uh, Solves gastric trouble and hypertension and so on and so forth. So stay tuned for the significance of Bij Mantra. While we are doing these things, how the Bij Mantra will be helping to further accentuate or expand our understanding about different pranas and pranavayus and things like that. So that's where I will stop, and let's see if we have any questions. If we don't, then we can always look forward to some other day. But if we have, and if I know any, I will definitely would love to answer.